So now we've got our sewing machine threaded. In the industry, we use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to show you how to do a zigzag finish on a seam. I'm going to place my fabric in. I'm going to be going straight, using straight stitch. I'm going to put my presser foot down. Now I don't have to, and I'm lining this up with my 1/2 inch. On the top of the machine, we have lines. All of these lines mean something. This line, which is the first long line, it extends onto the throat plate here. There's a line across here. The first one that extends onto the throat plate here is a 1/2 inch line. This is a 5/8 of an inch line. This short one is the 1/2 inch line. We're going to line this up with the 1/2 inch. In the industry, we use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You always want your fabric edges to be perfectly together. If you need to, go ahead and put some pins in the fabric. To make sure that you've got your 1/2 inch, and it will stay together all the way down. Next, we're going to line this up with the 1/2 inch mark right here on the machine. Put our presser foot down and put our needle in. I always like to start with my needle in and my thread back. If I do that, the bobbin will not tangle on me. Okay, so now I'm ready to sew. I put my foot on the foot pedal. I always like to start and stop with a back stitch. When we do a back stitch, we're going to move this lever, our stitch length lever, up to go backwards. So we're going to do 1 or 2 stitches, and then I'm going to move my stitch length lever up. You'll see it goes backwards, and then it's going to go forward again when I release it. So I'm going to just line this up. Notice that I'm not pushing or pulling the machine, the fabric itself. All I'm doing is guiding it. And my hand or my eye is not on the needle, because the needle is going to go up and down and does what it needs to do. I always want to have my eye on the side of the where the side of the fabric where I'm making sure that I'm right on the 1/2 inch line. You can sew right over your pins. There's a lot of people that don't think they can sew over pins. In industry, of course, the seamstress sew so quickly that they don't even use pins. But if you're a beginner sewer or starting off, I suggest strongly that you do use your pins. And then to end, again, we're going to do a back stitch, which is just taking the stitch length lever, raising it, and then going forward again. Then you're going to pick up your presser foot and pull your thread out. Now we have a thread cutter right here, or you can just have your scissors right alongside of you, and you can trim as you go. I also recommend that you trim as you go, so that at the end of when you're ready to when you're putting your garment together, you don't have to spend a lot of time trimming. Take out your pins, and then of course you will press open your seam. All right, so I'm going to press this open. All right, so now we're going to press open our seam. What we want to do is take the seam allowance and open it up like so, and we're going to press this open. I always like to have steam in my iron, and I use the point of the iron to make sure that I am pressing it all the way open. And then I hit it again with a little bit of steam. Okay? And then I have a nice flat seam that looks very nice on the other side. Now I said we were going to do a zigzag stitch on the edge of our fabric so that it does not unravel. What I mean by unraveling, when you wash a piece of fabric that has no finish on it, you will see that some of the stitching or some of the threads itself come out. What we want to have happen is we're going to zigzag this so we don't have that problem. In order to zigzag, again, we're going to pull our thread back before we start anything. We need to transition our machine into a zigzag stitch. Now, our stitch length is anywhere between 2.5 and 3, and our zigzag width, I would say, for a seam finish, I would use around 3. What we're going to do is we're going to zigzag on the fabric, then off the fabric. So I'm placing my seam allowance only, not anything more than just the seam allowance. So I pull out just the seam allowance here, okay? And I'm placing that underneath the machine, underneath the presser foot, and I'm lining this up so that I have the edge of the fabric right about maybe 1/8 of an inch to the right of my center line on my presser foot. This should zigzag off the fabric here and then on the fabric here. Okay, so I'm taking this and enclosing my edge, the raw edge of the fabric, I'm enclosing it with a zigzag stitch on and off the fabric. So I'm going on the fabric, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, all the way down the seam. And what this will do is it will eliminate, when I wash this garment, it will eliminate me having raveled seams. And of course you would do this to both seam allowances. Okay, so I would cut this and then turn to the other side and zigzag the other side also. Again, notice that I'm always turning the hand wheel towards me. Okay, and then we have our seam allowance that is finished. And you can see your finished edge. Then this gets pressed open, and that would be your finished edge of your garment. Now this will not unravel. again, I'm just trimming my seam allowances, my threads as I go.